And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watts2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Baseball fans, this is what it all comes down to. This regular season's been going on about 6 months, and we are here, the final 6 games of the season, but the 3 biggest. Tuesday through Thursday night, Mets versus Braves in Cobb County, Georgia. The playoffs are on the line. These teams are 5-5 against each other in 10 games already played this regular season. So whoever wins this 3-game series wins the season tiebreaker. So if the teams finish with the same record, the team who wins the head-to-head, that's one who gets the tiebreaker for the wild card. Now going into the series, Mets lead Atlanta by 2 games with 6 to go. So if the Mets win 2 games in this series, they would leave Atlanta 3 games up with 3 games to play. So they would have the tiebreaker. That means they would clinch a playoff spot. So that would be curtains. Now, if the Mets only win 1 game, well, they do still leave Atlanta up 1 game, but the Braves would need to gain only 1 game over the final 3 to catch the Mets. Because if the teams finish with the same record, if the Braves have the head-to-head, they would beat out the Mets, kind of like what happened in 2022. And the Mets will finish the season in Milwaukee against the Brewers team that has won the NL Central, but they've got not only their division clinched, but likely their number 3 seed is secured as well. So they have nothing to play for, plus they've already admitted they're not going more than 5 innings with any of their starting pitchers. Atlanta, on the other hand, will finish at home against the Kansas City Royals team that is struggling to keep their head above water in the American League wildcard race. They have dropped 7 games in a row and are to say they're limping towards a finish. It's like a limping after they got shot in both legs. That's the kind of limping they're doing right now. So Kansas City is in a whole lot of trouble. But this is just the latest chapter in a long-standing rivalry that goes back about a quarter century. And in most of those issues, the Braves have had the upper edge, no doubt about it. Just 2 years ago, when the Mets blew the National League Eastern Division and the Braves came back, sweeping the Mets in Atlanta over a 3-game series. They won 14 games in a row at June, actually, to get back in the race. But in that sweep, they beat DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett. The Mets' 3 best starters, they gave up 11 runs combined, just the starting pitchers, and the Mets lose the division via the head-to-head tiebreaker, even though both teams finished with the same record. But this feels very different just 2 years later in 2024. Now, why is that? Well, look at where these teams have come from. Since June 3rd, the Mets have the best record in the majors, 62 wins to 34 losses. In September, they are 14 wins to 5 losses. And after 8 innings, they have won 67 out of 73 games. Meanwhile, over the last 3.5 months, the Braves are barely a 500 team. The Mets know if they win 2 games, they wrap up the wild card spot. And I give the Braves a lot of credit for hanging in. For as much as I don't like them and as much as they have tortured me over the last quarter century, you can never count them out. They have a winning pedigree that has been established. You have to respect their players. I've seen enough from them to know that. But you look at the players they've lost. You know, they lost Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna for the season. Ronaldo Lopez, who you may not know his name. The average fan, may not know Ronaldo Lopez. But for a long period of time, he was leading the National League in ERA. Ronaldo Lopez, who came over from the White Sox, just the latest good player the White Sox let get away. Austin Riley broke his hand in mid-August. He's out for the rest of the regular season. Ozzie Albies, their star second baseman, missed 2 months. He just came back this past Friday and is still kind of working his way back in. The Mets have the mojo. I think they have the confidence. And you know what? Every time the Mets have one of these like out of nowhere years where they have one of these like crazy years where they're successful, something strange always seems to happen. Something weird, whether it's the black cat, whether it's the ball on the wall, all kinds of weird things, firing the whole coaching staff and replacing them, just all kinds of strange things. And you look at Sunday night, the game against Philadelphia, they're up 1 in the top of the 8th inning. And then that line drive gets hit right off the third base bag, and it pops right up in the air so that the tying run could not score. Any other year, what would have happened? The ball would have bounced in front of the bag and continued its path down the left field line, or the ball would have gone over the bag, fair, down the left field line, and we have a tie game, and then who knows what happens from there. But it just, this time it popped up in the air. Mark Vientos was able to feel it. Nick Castellanos was not able to score, and Philadelphia was not able to bring home that tying run in the 8th or 9th inning. Atlanta, I mean, they had to struggle to win 2 games in a row against the lovely Miami Marlins this week. So as far as the Mets go, I don't expect a sweep. I'm not asking for a sweep, but I am asking for 2 wins. Because to celebrate a playoff clinching spot on the field at Truist Park, on that field against that franchise, it might be the best moment the Mets have ever had against the Braves. You know, going back to the 1969 NLCS obviously would be a big one. The 9/11 home run by Mike Piazza, I put that in its own category. But I think this would be probably the best moment the Mets have ever had against the Braves. There would be no sweeter revenge. And I don't care that it's a wild card. You know, you're knocking Atlanta out of the playoffs in all likelihood. You compare that to 2022. Yes, the collapse by the Mets was terrible. The Braves did a heck of a job to take the division title. But the Mets still clinched the top wild card spot when they lost the division. So there was another path in the playoffs. Not this year. The chances are very likely one of these teams is not going to be among the final 6 in the National League, unless you get a complete out-and-out collapse by Arizona, who did blow an 8-0 lead to Milwaukee on Sunday and now has a pretty challenging schedule the rest of the way. I believe with the Dodgers and the Padres. So here are the pitching matchups. Game 1, you've got Luis Severino for the Mets going against rookie Spencer Schwellenbach of the Braves. You got a battle of the lefties in Game 2. David Peterson, who's had a bit of a renaissance season for the Mets, against likely Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale. And then in Game 3, you have the pitcher that Chris Sale helped influence this year in Sean Manaea going against another lefty in Max Fried. So both teams have lined up their best starting pitchers for the series. One catch. Rain is expected in Atlanta late on Wednesday and into Thursday. Right now they're calling for about a 90% chance of rain, and it could actually turn into a hurricane. So maybe games 2 and 3 are a doubleheader on Wednesday. If I'm the Braves, I do not want any part of a doubleheader because the Braves really need every game in the series. And we know it is much harder to sweep a doubleheader than it is to win 3 games on 3 consecutive days. All games scheduled to start at 7:20. The big question, we're going to get a little more granular into these teams now. For the Mets, will Francisco Lindor play? Tuesday is the best case scenario. If he is cleared by doctors, then he is expected to play through his back discomfort. He has already declared he is going to be in a bit of pain for the rest of the season, but there's no need in him pushing it. You know, Jose Iglesias and Luis Angel Acuna have produced in his absence. They've been an excellent defensive pair. Their bats have been marvelous. Acuna in that 9 spot, essentially giving the Mets, you know, that speed at the bottom of the lineup, sort of that first leadoff hitter before Jose Iglesias comes back up. But I want to praise a couple of Mets here. First of all, Edwin Diaz. He was a disaster in the month of May. He blew 4 out of 5 saves. His ERA was 8.68 in just over 9 innings of work. He goes on the injured list on May 29th. Of course, we can't leave out the sticky stuff suspension later on. There were Met fans, of course, whining about wanting a trade. It's like, we got to get a closer next year, as if there's all these other great closers out there on the market you can just bring in, and like they're going to be a sure thing. It's ridiculous. Well, he had a horrible blown save in Arizona when Corbin Carroll hit the grand slam home run. Since then, he has pitched 13 1/3 innings. He has allowed 1 run, struck out 25 batters, and converted all 6 of his save opportunities. Now, I think over the last 33 appearances, I'm going to give you another stat. In his last 33 appearances, he has a 2.03 ERA, 49 strikeouts. What has Diaz done to turn this around? How has this all happened? Well, he's really reduced the use of his slider. It just does not have the same break as it did in 2022 when he was far and away the best relief pitcher in all of baseball. But what he is doing is locating his fastball. He's pitching confidently. He's not only locating the fastball, but he's hitting 99 to 100 miles an hour. He did not have that kind of velocity early in the season as he was coming back from the knee injury. And then you look at the last 2 games the Mets have played. Saturday and Sunday had a 4-out save, had a 6-out save as well against maybe the best lineup in the National League in Philadelphia. So 47 pitches to get 10 outs in 2 days. Thank goodness for the off day on Monday. A couple other guys to mention. Tyler McGill, I know he won't pitch in the series, but he has a 1.72 ERA in his last 25 innings, allowed just 5 runs, 17 hits, 8 walks, 28 strikeouts. You know, the Mets have lost quite a few starting pitchers. Kodai Senga appearing in only 1 game this season, and he really is the Mets ace. You know, it was a major blow when they lost him. And then Christian Scott needing Tommy John surgery. We won't see him till 2026. So that 5th starting spot was a big spot to fill. And McGill has stepped up and done maybe his best work as a Met that we've seen in quite some time. And then you look at the lineup. Jose Iglesias. On Sunday, he recorded his 4th straight 2-hit game. He has a hitting streak of 16 games. In that time, he is batting .419, 446 on base, 532 slugging with 26 hits, 4 doubles, a home run, 13 runs scored. Man, oh man, who knew that he would be this good? I mean, he has bounced around the league, and at 34 years old, he has found a home here in New York. Credit to David Stearns for finding him. Tyrone Taylor in September, batting .353. He's given you terrific base running, fine defense. And with J.D. Martinez mired in an 0-for-32 slump, Taylor has given you that lineup depth, that extended lineup that they have really needed that we don't see all that often from the Mets. Now, as far as Atlanta goes, they clawed back to beat Miami 2 straight after losing on Friday. And truthfully, maybe they shouldn't have even won Sunday. Miami in the 7th inning, bottom of the 7th, had bases loaded, no one out in a tie game. They could not score. And the Braves' middle relief, which has been very up and down this year, they came through. But you look at the lineup, and it's starting to come back together again. Michael Harris has been a force at leadoff in the absence of Ronald Acuna. 8 hits this weekend, 11 hard hit balls, 14 hits in 6 games. Ozzie Albies, we mentioned him. He came back Friday, hit a home run on Sunday, but the switch-hitting second baseman is only batting from the right side as of now. He's still dealing with some discomfort in his left side. Matt Olson hadn't had his best year, but he's been better as of late. He batted .172 in July. In September, though, batting .318 with 20 RBIs. Even Gio Urshela, who the Braves signed to replace Austin Riley when he got hurt, he's hit home runs in 2 straight days. And in the bullpen, Raisel Iglesias recorded a 2-inning save against Miami on Sunday. So as a baseball fan, here you go. This is what you wait for all year. This is what you hope for all year. You hope for the stress. You hope for the drama, for the crazy level of emotions. The mood swings that you deal with when every single pitch just drives you nuts, has you pulling out your own hair. When you analyze the starting lineup to death, wondering if this player should be batting 5th versus 6th, should this player be playing this position, who should be DHing, where you visualize how your 4-man starting rotation should be configured, where you complain about having to listen to national TV announcers and how they don't know as much as your own hometown announcers. The Mets are on the doorstep of realizing all of it. And in late May, after Jorge Lopez hurled his glove into the Citi Field crowd, no one thought that was a realistic expectation. Now, 2 games up with 6 games to play, they better close the deal. But to do that, they got to exercise the demons against a franchise that has absolutely tortured them for basically the last 3 decades. Can they do it? It starts Tuesday night in Cobb County, Georgia. Let's see what they can do. Well, everybody, those are my thoughts on the series. Let me know yours. Put them right down there in the comments. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And reminder, we go live Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Please come by and join us. Also, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.